Joining me now is Senator John Barrasso. He's a Republican from Wyoming and member of the Foreign Relations Committee. I want to start with TPP because you voted in favor of the Pacific trade deal. What do you make of the president's order, and are you upset at the direction he's taking trade?
Not upset with the direction. He's talked about this during the campaign. This is what he promised the American people. He was elected, and absolutely he was right to do what he's promised. In terms of trade, from Wyoming's standpoint, we want to be able to send our product overseas. Our number one cash crop is beef. We have trona that we send out, natural gas, liquefied natural gas, and people want that. Now, Donald Trump is a world-class deal maker. I'm sure he's going to make sure that we get good deals for the United States. Of course, the concern I have is that if we're not trading with certain people, China will try to step into that void.
Right.
When I was in Japan visiting with Abe, he said, please sell us your liquefied natural gas. We've been having a hard time getting permits from the Obama administration, even to get the ports built to ship it overseas. So we have an abundance of product in the United States. We've had problems with regulations to get it out. And I think Donald Trump is going to make sure that we use our energy as a geopolitical weapon.
But you know that China is going around to all these countries in the Pacific and saying, look what the U.S. is doing. They don't want to do deals with you. You're going to have to do deals with us. And countries that are naturally our allies, South Korea, Japan, they're concerned.
Well, they are. And I was in Singapore earlier this year. And the same thing, as I traveled that region, a number of us senators went and did that. And they say, look, everyone there wants to be the United States' friend, but they don't want to be China's enemy. And when you take a look at China and rule of law, they respect history more than law. And in terms of the islands that you were just talking about, they respect power more than history. And this is talking about what they can inhabit and how they're going to try to use their power.
Let's talk about Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State nominee. Marco Rubio is now supporting him, but he did express a lot of concerns, as did John McCain, Lindsey Graham, et cetera. You are a supporter of Rex Tillerson. You want him to be Secretary of State. It looks like he will be Secretary of State. Why are you not concerned about his relationship with Putin and whether the U.S. is cozying too much up to this murderous dictator?
Yeah, well, I think that Tillerson knows the world better than many members of the Foreign Relations Committee. He's had interactions over the years, knows the leaders around the world, knows how to be a tough deal maker, and he knows the power of energy, as he's done with his job leading up to that. He's going to use energy in the way that helps America become better, stronger. And we all want to make sure we have a safe, strong, and secure America. I think he is the right person. As other leaders around the world, look for relevance, look for respect, he is the person that I believe can restore the credibility that we need worldwide. I think that President Trump has inherited from President Obama a world that is less safe and more dangerous than it was that President Obama inherited from President Bush. We want to be the most powerful, respected nation on the face of the earth. I think Rex Tillerson is the right person to be Secretary of State.
Well, with all due respect to Mr. Tillerson, his job at ExxonMobil had nothing to do with human rights. So he was making deals having to do with access to enriched uranium or whatever. And my question is, are we now entering an era where the human rights of other countries are no longer important? Because that's not how, when I was growing up, I was raised to believe the Republican Party, what they stood for. When I was young, Ronald Reagan was president and human rights abroad were important. I'm not getting the impression that that is a priority for the Trump administration. Am I wrong?
Well, that specific question is one that I asked Rex Tillerson during the hearings about when you deal with international neighbors, the issue of national security in those countries, the area of economic growth, and then human rights. And how do you balance those? And I was very satisfied with his putting human rights way up there, very important, as you take a look at making sure that the continued commitment of America to human rights continues around the world.
I want to ask you, you chaired the hearing for the EPA nominee, Mr. Pruitt. I know you're going to support him. Can you guarantee the American people that the actions that Pruitt and the Trump administration take when it comes to cutting regulations, I've heard up to 75% of the regulations, will not hurt our children's health and our drinking water and the air we breathe? I know people think that those who are concerned about this are alarmist about it. Can you make that assurance?
Well, we all want clean air, clean water, clean land, and I think that Scott Pruitt is the right person in this job. The EPA has really lost its way over the last 8 years. You take a look at what happened with the spillage of 3 million gallons of toxic wastewater into a river in Colorado. That was the EPA caused that. What happened in Flint, Michigan with the poisoning there with the lead, that was EPA related. So the EPA has lost its way. I think that Scott Pruitt is trying to get rid of some of these regulations that have stifled the economy, really haven't in any significant way improved the environment. We can have clean air, clean water, clean land, and at the same time have economic growth and the jobs. I don't think you have to choose one or the other. We have incredible resources in this country. We need to be using them.
So you can assure the American people that whatever actions Pruitt takes, it's not going to cause an increase of asthma or among children or polluted drinking water. I mean, accidents, not including accidents.
Yeah, I have great confidence in Scott Pruitt. You take a look at his role as Attorney General in Oklahoma, working with the neighboring state of Arkansas, with the Democrat Attorney General there. They forged an alignment that helped clean the water and the river between those two states. He's worked with attorneys generals, certainly the one from Wyoming, on clean water, on clean air. And what has happened that the EPA has basically gone rogue, and they have come out with regulations untethered from the law. They have kind of gone and decided what they wanted to do rather than the laws that Congress passed.
Dr. and Senator John Barrasso, always good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it.